Okay, so I want to talk about the elephant in the room, about shitty people that have all this drama happening and all these bad things that are happening in the world. Um, there are bad things going on, and it leaves us feeling powerless. And I think that my key to happiness really relies on being able to have agency, to be able to take action towards creating a better world. And when you feel like you're stuck in a world that is just shitty everywhere you see, it's so hard. And most people don't have the, I call it activation energy, the oomph, the ability, the spoons to be able to start a big thing and a revolution, so it feels really overwhelming, and it feels like all these little tiny steps are not enough, but I think in the end, if we can coordinate all those little tiny things, then it will really stay on top of maintaining those little tiny things and building on them instead of just one little thing here, one little thing there, like really helping bring cohesion to them. I think that's where the answer is. But now, if one person over here decides, okay, I see a shitty thing and I'm going to react to that, and it creates more trauma down the line, it doesn't help anybody, So it could really cause more trouble than it's worth for you. So I think that's another thing that stops a lot of people from taking that action, having that agency, and feeling stuck. So I think that, first of all, it's important to recognize that every little thing does help, and the thing that helps even more than taking action is being the right energy. It's like being the right person, holding true to your morals, no matter what. I read in a book the other day about, is it better to protect the innocent or to go after and destroy the evil, So that's up to you. Whatever you are called to do, that's your choice. But take a look at the long game. Take a look at what the ramifications of your actions are going to be. Plan out your actions. Make sure they're aligned with who you are. You're not just joining on the bandwagon and joining in the fight because you're angry. It's like, no, take a step back, let go of the anger for a second. The anger is good. The anger is valid for sure, but try to step away from the anger for just long enough to be able to get clear in your mind about why it's important to act and what the consequences of those actions are. And that way, when you're confronted with the other person or the situation that you're trying to tackle, then you're able to really speak to it eloquently, and you're able to really convince other people that you're doing the right thing. You're not just going, I thought this was the right thing to do. It takes away your whole point of what you're doing, so don't let yourself be that guy, right? Take a step back, really figure out what it is you want to do. And I really think that the cohesion and that stepping back to take that moment to figure out what the heck we do want to do is so important. So that's why my channel is really focused a lot on being able to take a rest and relax and get clear in your mind, and then the next step is looking at the bigger picture. What do you want for your life? Not what's right for the whole world. Just instead of getting overwhelmed and trying to figure out all the pieces, just stay true to your piece, and figure out what your piece is, figure out what your contribution to the world is naturally, not what other people want you to do, but what really inspires you, like that's you. That's your natural gift. And your natural gift is going to be so much more powerful to bring to the world than something that somebody told you should do. Right? So there's that as well. But yeah, really stop and think about where you're going. What is the the ultimate goal of what you're trying to do. For me, I think that more freedom is important. I think that being able to control our own lives and take control of ourselves and just really feel like we're able to do that, to be able to express ourselves, to be able to have the freedom to be who we are meant to be is one of the biggest things. And yeah, oppression and violence and shitty systems do not contribute to that. So I also advocate for unplugging from those systems and trying to use your own ways of doing things instead of just default following the crowd and doing whatever's easiest, So take that extra time, figure out what your way is. And I also advocate a lot for community, but if you're not fitting in with the community that's around you, just unplug from it so that it's not clashing and creating friction that's harming both of you along the process, right? So I think that's the biggest thing right now, is to really just unplug. And I honestly think of it, I was talking about with my kid the other night about the Bible and how I've always thought it was just a bunch of stories trying to teach us the morals, right? And so the Bible has all these rules that a lot of people take to the letter. And if that's you, great. If that's something that you need to do, if you need those rules in order to figure out how to not hurt another person, then great, go for it. But if you're using those rules to justify hurting another person, why? Do you really think that's what the Bible's trying to teach you? Do you really think that you're gonna get into heaven that way? Really stop and think about it. Is that actually you? Is that really what you believe? Or are you following these rules because they were beat into you that it's important, right? Because I do think those rules are just little pieces trying to point at the bigger picture that's holding everything together, And so I think we're at that step now where we're starting to look beyond those rules because they're starting to clash with each other. And so it's like, okay, well, what's at the core? What's your core belief? What's your core thing that you are trying to get at and achieve in your life? Are you really just looking for power and money and riches and fame, and you're willing to step on toes to make that happen? Cool. If that's you, guess what? You also have to accept the consequences of the fact that people are not going to like it. And if you're on the other end and you feel powerless, you need to recognize that you're not. That although there are 100 million people who feel powerless, together, they're not powerless, And so just really starting to own that belief, like really recognizing that even though you're small, you are part of a machine. This world is a global community at this point, and we are all part of a machine. And at this point, the machine is falling apart because those smaller pieces are not stepping up and making their pieces work properly, and the bigger pieces are really taking over. And it's like my body, right? I've got hypermobility and fibromyalgia, and so what's happening in my body, why I have aches and pains, is because my body has learned that the bigger muscles take less effort than those little tiny muscles. But if I'd stop and take the time to actually get those little muscles on board too, then my whole body will work as a well-oiled machine much, much more efficiently than if I keep stressing out those big muscles and causing them to fail. Because that's what's happening. The people in power, those big muscles, the systems and the things that have been working so hard to build this amazing thing and hold everything up, they're starting to fail. And so when that does, if those other little muscles aren't on board to be able to help pick up the slack as we go, then the whole system's going to fail, right? The whole body's going to fail. But if you can start working slowly, and yes, it's painfully slow, but if we can start working slowly to just make sure that those little pieces are working, then that's going to be the answer, right? So I think just stick true to you. Whatever is around you, the people around you, whatever you have influence over, deal with them, right? If they're connected to those bigger things, then maybe it's time to distance yourself from them or to talk to them. Like, find the courage to talk to them and say, hey, what's going on here? Let's figure this out. Why is this happening? Right? And start to have those conversations and those dialogues. And that would be the equivalent of those big muscles working together with the little ones, you know? And I think that's really what the lesson is here, is to really start taking the information that we have in front of us, really start trying to figure out the core of what's going on and why, and start looking around us within our circle of influence to be able to see what our scope is. Because one person can't tackle the whole thing.